This right here is a 1.5 liter tub, and it's usually full of ice cream. And during my peak weight, that is 163 kilograms, 350 pounds, I could eat 3 of this in one sitting. And prior to having 3 of these 1.5 liter tubs, I could down 6 double McSpicies in one afternoon. So that was how my addiction spiraled out of control. You watch my previous video on how I controlled my diet eventually and managed to stop my addiction. I shall share more about certain tips and techniques that I use to stop and slow down my addiction and eventually eliminate it altogether. But in this video, I'd like to share with you how it all started. Well, it all started when I was a teeny weeny 6-year-old boy back in the mid-80s. So back then, my siblings attended night classes and I'm usually spending plenty of time with my parents. So what happened is you usually hang out and go to malls while waiting for my siblings to complete their night classes. My parents will bring me to various shopping malls and to look at toys and food, and that's where it all began. My parents brought me to this mall that was near to my home back then in the 80s. The mall is called Queensway Shopping Centre. So I'll usually head to the supermarket that sells toys. They call it the Oriental Emporium. But after that, I will proceed to the basement where there's food galore. Back then, as a 6-year-old, I was already a foodie, looking out for McDonald's, any kind of fast food. And in those days, there's something called Icy. Basically, I think it's the same version as today's Slurpee. There was a polar bear mascot, and I'll buy a few different varieties and slurp bit by bit and throw the rest away. So beside the Slurpee machine, there was an ice cream parlor. It's not a parlor, but just a central ice cream unit where the ice cream baristas and salespeople will show you different varieties of toppings and flavors. And as a 6-year-old boy, I saw so many different colors, and that's where I got hooked onto this lovely thing called ice cream. The best thing in the whole world. Nothing can come close to ice cream. So I will pick out my favorite yam ice cream. And when I was a 6-year-old boy, it was just one scoop. And as time goes by, my tongue got a taste of this lovely heavenly feeling. One scoop became 2, 2 became 3. And my parents will wait, say it's time to stop. Let's just go back to 1 scoop. So I carried on 1 scoop for many years, and it was alright for a few years when I was in primary school. But when I was in secondary school and when I managed to save up my own pocket money, that's where things started to get out of hand. I wanted to go back home and watch my favorite football and boxing matches. I'll prepare and save the entire week, and when Saturday comes, it's time for party. And in my terms, party meaning huge 1 to 2 liter tubs of ice cream. So I'll have like my tubs ready. I'll go over to the 7-Eleven or any provision shop and get my 2 liter tub or 1 liter tub and make sure that I enjoy it. It was during the time when I was in Polytechnic, somewhere around 16, 17, that I started to get a bit out of hand. What do I mean by that? It became like a very tough addiction. if I do not get my 1 to 2 liter tub of ice cream each and every single night, I'll feel cranky and I'll feel moody and I can't sleep well. So, and it's really like a drug. You do get that withdrawal symptom. Basically, I believe it's the addiction to the sugar and the fat combination. Well, thinking about it now makes me feel, wow, I'm proud that I managed to overcome the addiction, but it was something really tough. I'll guide you through the process of how I did it in subsequent videos. But for this, it was terrible. Like, really, I was like a slave to the ice cream. There were times when I don't see the ice cream in the fridge and I just go out to the nearest 7-Eleven to get it. Take a taxi, even if it's 2 or 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. That was how bad the addiction was. People always talk about addiction to drugs, addiction to tablets, painkillers, addiction to alcohol, gambling, but you don't hear a lot about food, and food can get out of hand very easily because it's something that's a bit difficult to control because it's always there. It's always easy to get chocolates, always easy to get sweets. When it's in front of your own eyes, you want to have it. Yes, willpower can only get you so far. You can't have willpower all the time. How long can you hold on to your willpower? Yes, you can hold on 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. The trick is not willpower. There has to be something stronger than that. It could be for someone you love, or in my case, it was for someone I love, and it was also an added motivational factor of wanting to improve my overall health. So you need to have that discipline and that motivating factor that carries you on further rather than just pure willpower alone. So it spiraled out of control, and eventually it took over my life. Like, I didn't really want to do anything at all rather than stay at home and just gobble up my tubs of ice cream. Who needs work? Who needs school? Who needs friends when you can have this? Nothing can compare to this. This is the best thing in life. That's what life is supposed to be like. That was what I had in mind. That was my total vision. I don't need a girlfriend. I don't need friends. I don't need qualifications. I don't need anything except this. So it got out of control. I'm laughing now, but back then it was quite dangerous because I did not know the toll that it was taking inside of me. It seems like everything was alright from the outside, someone looking from the outside at me. Yes, if I had programs, I could go out and do it. If I had school, I can go out and do it. But inward, it was eating me slowly. My liver was being covered up in layers of fat, and I was losing a lot of my energy levels. I had knee injuries, and overall just a sense of lethargy. Like, I don't really need to do much because there's always this to calm and relax me. So it's a wrong kind of motivating factor, a destructive motivating factor. So it all started then, and just a word of advice to you: if you are struggling with food addiction, know that if I, as a 40-plus-year-old, could overcome a 20-plus year addiction, maybe if you count the earlier years, 30-plus year addiction, you can do it as well. And in my case, it was so severe that I couldn't really do anything. I was not interested to do anything else rather than to stay at home and eat my tubs of ice cream. If I can do it, you can too. And just remember, you do not need any drastic actions. I did not have a personal trainer. I did not undergo any surgery. I did not have any kind of medication. I was not working with any doctor. And to make matters worse, I could not do much exercises because I had a torn ligament in both my knees. Torn ACL on my left knee, torn PCL, MCL, and ACL on my right knee, and only one was surgically repaired. So I had an excuse in my mind because I had knee injuries. So I was telling myself, I can't do any exercise, so it's fine. I'm injured. But deep down, I know I actually could do it if I wanted to. Slow and steady. But I gave myself excuses. So remember, if you're out there, you're looking to overcome your addiction, know that you can do it. You take small, slow, steady steps, and over time this will add up and you will see and feel the result. In subsequent videos, I will share with you bit by bit certain tips that I started out with and I slowly progressed to something more powerful. I can do it, you can too.